national championship.
Oh, football?
You don't need it.
No, I didn't.
Oh, she just did
Is there any
that.
hockey?
Just come back, start over, and just.
You have a hockey game in town?
It's not the same watching it in VR.
No, well, you actually can skip the commercials really quick and get right up to it. I mean, I kind of like that with the Vikings, I kind of like half the game go by, and I start it, and then I can catch up before the end of the game because the commercials are so long.
Well, and then you get two different games though now.
Yeah.
You're watching the Vikings. There's
Yeah, there's,
the mediocre Vikings and the horrible Vikings, depending on which half you're watching.
who's doing good and who's doing bad.
Yeah.
They fired.
Yes.
Fired,
Let's not discuss
Zimmer
it.
and Zimmer today.
This will
Yes.
probably be different.
Which-
I think it was good.
I guess. At least Zimmer got them to usually play hard.
You're
Yeah.
right.
I mean, there's been times when we've had Viking teams that just don't play.
Yeah.
But oh my.
Just not quite ready to go there yet.
I'd rather have them be like really, really bad or just really good. Because like we've just been mediocre
Yeah.
ever since I've been a fan. It seems
As long as we're just not the Detroit Lions.
But yeah, as long as it's not like that.
They win their best games though.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
They play up or down to their opponents.
Motor City Kings.
Okay. Oh, for basketball? Yeah.
I'm gonna stay one of the nights.
Just play DL in DL, next week.
Last week.
Like 12. Sunday, Saturday. I watched the Saturday, I'll start that game. 4 o'clock game, yeah, I was wondering. 12. I just got last 5 minutes ago.
Everyone please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now I will call our school board reorganizational meeting to order. Since this is the first meeting of the new calendar year, I will preside until we have a new slate of officers, and we'll continue after the reorganization onto our regular school board agenda. So, having called the meeting to order, I will ask our acting clerk to please establish our quorum.
Herbie Anderson,
Present.
Natalie Knudsen. Here. Melanie Cole,
Present?
Matthew Lemke,
Here.
Missy Hermes, present, Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I would seek a motion to adopt the reorganizational meeting agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, the agenda is adopted. First item on the slate of officers is election of the chairperson, and I would now call for nominations for the office of chair.
I nominate Melanie Cole for chair.
Are there any other further nominations for the office of chair? Any further nominations for the office of chair? Since there are no further nominations for the office of chair, nominations for the office of chair are closed. I hereby declare that Melanie Cole is elected by acclamation, and I direct the acting clerk to record so in the minutes. Next item of business is election of the vice chair. It is, nominations for vice chair are currently in order. I'll accept any nominations.
I nominate Natalie Knudsen for vice chair.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Are there any further nominations for the office of vice chair? If there are no further nominations for the office of vice chair, then the nominations are closed. Since there were no further nominations, I hereby declare that Natalie Knudsen is elected vice chair by acclamation, and I direct the clerk to so record in the record. Nominations are in order for the office of clerk.
I nominate Missy Hermes.
All right. Are there any other nominations for the office of clerk? Are there any further nominations for the office of clerk? If there are no further nominations, for clerk, nominations for that office are closed. Since there were no other nominations, I hereby declare Melissa Hermes is elected by acclamation to the clerk, and I direct her to record so for herself. All right, nominations are now in order for the office of treasurer.
I nominate Kirby Anderson.
All right, are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? Are there any further nominations for the office of treasurer? Since there are no further nominations for the office of treasurer, the nominations are closed. With no other nominations, I hereby declare Kirby Anderson elected as treasurer and direct the acting clerk to so record in the minutes. Other operating procedures, we will continue. I am seeking a motion for the salary for the board members. And there is a narrative in our packet about the past practices and a combination of other optional things to consider in making the nomination. I'll simply call for a nomination for the salary and ask the board person, whichever board person makes the nomination to specify what they'd like. So with that, what nomination or suggestion is being put forth for the salary of school board members? I will make a motion to increase the salary of school board member from $475 a month to $500 per month. This would be our regular board salary, and that covers all regular and special school board meetings, work sessions, retreats, and up to two committee meetings per month. Certified Contract Negotiations Committee will get a one-time stipend of $500 payable once during each contract cycle at the conclusion of the contract approval. I make a motion, continuing motion, that the chair will receive an additional $100 a month salary for the additional responsibilities of that office, and any meetings that exceed what has been described, just described by me, board members can receive payment of $25 per month if they've exceeded the included meetings. So I submit that salary for school board members, and I would ask if anyone would like to make a second.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? In the past, I know Mr. Lemke's thought that the additional stipend for the board chair was not maybe necessary because it might be divisive between all of us. It is extra work and significantly so. So I've included that, which is a different proposal than what we've had in the past. So any other comments or questions? All right. Got the motion, second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. All right. I would seek a motion for meeting dates, location, and time. Again, following that same narrative where the nominating board member makes the specifics.
I'd move that we set our time, meeting place, will be at the Audit Committee Room, Kennedy Secondary School. The meeting dates will be on the second and fourth Mondays of the month, starting at 5:15 p.m. Exception is July meeting on the third Monday of the month only, and December meeting on the second Monday of the month only. Summer meetings will begin at, is 7 okay, or should we go 7:15?
I'd prefer 7:15, but you all, I can make 7 work. I just come flying in.
I'm gonna change it to 7:15 a.m.
All right.
Motion.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion on any of those specifics or the motion in general?
I think the one change on here is that we're gonna have 2 meetings in November instead of traditionally we've had 1.
Correct.
Because otherwise it gets to be such a busy agenda and
Right.
long, late night meeting.
Right,
It's a
and.
good idea.
Very good, all right, well, I like it too. That world's best workforce is a large component of one of the meetings. And-
Yep.
So, all right. Any other discussion regarding meetings, dates, location, and time? No. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is passed. Looking for somebody to do a kind of a no-brainer motion on the mileage rate. It's typically set at the IRS recognized rate, and looking for a motion as to how board should be reimbursed this year.
I move that we set the mileage rate at the IRS recognized rate of 58.5 cents per mile, effective January 1st, 2022.
All right,
I'll second that.
very good. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, looking for a motion regarding which newspaper will be our official newspaper.
I move that the Daily Journal is to be the official newspaper of the school.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. We don't need to do the next one, because there's no change. I'm gonna make the following, so this number 11 needs to be authorized as a resolution. Is that accurate?
That is my understanding.
Okay. I'll make the
With the roll
following. Huh?
So with the roll call then?
Correct, okay. I'll make the following resolution and, move for its adoption. This board seeks authorization for wire transfers for the following business office employees. Finance director, who currently is Blake Stoltman, for sales and tax and bond payments. For payroll manager, currently Sherry Smith, for payroll taxes, PERA, TRA, and HCSP. Accounts payable, currently Marcy Clausen, for rent and K-12 management. And accounts receivable, secretary, currently Kelly Nelson, for the retiree payments of insurance. So I submit that resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion on the resolution? Clerk, will you please take roll?
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
Very good. Looking for our next motion to designate our depository.
I'll need to recuse from this.
Very well. Noted.
I move to designate FM Bank as our official depository.
I'll second that.
Very good, and, so we have a motion and a second, and just for clarity, FM Bank, is that
Security.
security?
Mhm.
Name. Oh, very good.
New name.
Yeah, sure.
That was for farmers and merchants or something? Thought we switched things up, okay. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, very well. Next is a resolution authorizing to employ legal counsel. Whereas from time to time matters arise which require consultation with legal counsel, whereas the school board may not have time to meet specifically to hire legal counsel for a particular circumstance that has arisen, and therefore a generalized authorization to contact legal counsel is necessary. Whereas the school board reserves the right to hire any legal counsel of its choice for any particular matter. Now therefore be it resolved by the school board of Independent School District Number 544 as follows, that the superintendent or school board chair can be hereby authorized to contact legal counsel as needs require. Would someone make that resolution?
I'll offer that resolution.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion on this resolution? Back to you, clerk.
Okay. Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to acknowledge the participation of our district in the Minnesota School District Liquid Assets Funds. Someone make that motion.
I would like to make a motion to acknowledge participation in the Minnesota School District Liquid Assets Fund.
All right, and a second?
I'll second.
And any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that motion has passed. This next series of items is in regard to committee representation. I think perhaps it would be most appropriate to entertain a motion to accept the committee representations, get the second, then through discussion, make any adjustments and then vote on it from there. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
I'll make the motion to set the committee assignments as written.
All right, and then,
Second.
yeah, second.
I'll second it.
All right. And so going through these, is there, are there adjustments to be made? I indicate that I would like to remove myself from the activities committee. And, is there another board member willing to serve in that role?
Do there have to be three?
Well, there doesn't have to be. Kirby's interested?
Oh,
I will take it if you want to drop that. I mean, you've already got a lot of other activity stuff going on. And board chair, so I would be happy to take that from you.
That would be great. And I don't know if it serves us to review every other committee, but,
Some of these are, I mean, you're, like that one right there is your role. I mean, you're on
Yeah.
the board, so some are boards.
yeah, some are boards, and so are there any other adjustments I had reviewed in advance and knew that I had a need to change that up, but anybody else?
I'd be willing to give up meet and confer if somebody wanted to be in that one.
I'm just gonna reiterate that at the legal workshop that I did through MSBA, they did not recommend that any school board members serve on meet and confer.
Meet and confer has not met this year.
We've met once for the calendar.
Uh-huh.
That was the end of last year.
Yeah, and
But
I don't remember the
Just-
last time
Just
they
throwing
met.
that out there.
For
Yeah,
It's
anything
not
else.
recommended that any school board member serve on that committee.
Did they say why?
That is an admin and staff.
Because it's simply about conditions of employment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, did they suggest how it would channel up, so to speak, then?
Well,
Just
just
through-
administrators
Probably a
report
superintendent
here at
report
their,
or something.
they come and make reports. So, they recommended against it.
The couple that I was at were more than just employment. I mean, they were more about like what's happening in the school and just more issue.
Yeah, they're
Discussion.
non-contractual issues.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, ours focus on the calendar.
Yeah.
The school calendars are the main focus of it, for more than anything.
I wonder if we would
Though it
be,
does have some other things that happen too,
Yeah.
that can.
I'm fine removing it, honestly, if it's not recommended anyway.
How comfortable are you? Are you fine with that, Jeff? Or I think that's probably a bigger question.
I thought we had meet and confer in the reference in the master agreement.
We do.
then we're on.
But I
Okay.
don't know if it refers to the,
Does it say that the board members?
The board
are to appoint,
members.
or-
No, I
You would-
believe it gives the FFEA the opportunity to request a meet and confer meeting. I believe it's, I want to say quarterly off the top of my head. They don't
Right.
have to, but
Right.
they have the ability to.
but it doesn't state, I don't think, who serves
on
on that
it?
committee.
Well, and it occurs to me if there's been a request for meet and confer that perhaps we could address it at a board meeting and maybe make it a little, that we could attend as in observation rather than a part of the committee.
Right.
And, you know what I mean, because there is a lot of benefit to that.
Mhm.
And then we wouldn't be bound by using the same board members all the time. Do you think there would be enough advance notification so that if we wanted to kind of loosen that up for, just whoever can respond, is that a good idea, or what do you think?
I don't think there's any harm in it. I typically ask for a copy of any concerns in advance, so I know what's on their mind for a meeting, and as long as we have that, then it may make sense based on the board's committee assignments that some people it might be more pertinent to than others if you wanted to participate in it.
Okay. So, in our discussion phase, should we remove meet and confer as a committee and then, entertain the option of board members attending as, whatever is part of our, when notified or whatever?
Sure.
Of course, we can't have a quorum there, but,
No, that's the only thing I was thinking about.
yeah. So we'll be cautious not to have a quorum. So then, now I've identified 2 adjustments to the committees as proposed. Any other discussion? Because I will go back to the motion and ask you, Mr. Vegasoff, if you want to make an amended motion for the changes.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to change the activities committee to be Kirby Anderson, Matt Lemke, and Steve Vegasoff, and then to remove meet and confer from this list completely.
Okay.
And I'll second the amended motion.
All right. And does that bring forward new discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Got that hammered out, very good. And then, along the same lines, we'll entertain a motion to have our negotiations representative assignments. And, would someone make that motion, please?
So moved.
All right, as listed?
As listed,
All
sorry.
right, thank you. And is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
All right, and in the discussion phase, are there any changes to be made there? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved, and then let's just, then I'll seek Okay, there's no action on that.
Just a statement of what the meetings are going to be, since we already did the action on the
Good,
board
and
meetings.
And the times.
Oh, just know the times.
Times change, 7:15.
Yep,
Okay.
That's fine.
I'll just note that, because that was already in an earlier motion, so I'll make the change.
All right, very good. Just a handy dandy little schedule there?
Yeah, just a schedule, since the motion already defined it.
Very good.
WBWF.
World Best Workforce.
Oh,
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll
And a
second. I'll
All
second.
right. Any discussion? Steven, any discussion on closing reorganizational meeting? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, we are adjourned on that meeting, and now I'll call to order a regular school board meeting for Fergus Falls Public Schools. And I will seek establishment of a quorum by looking at the clerk.
All right. Stephen Vigasa,
Here.
Kirby Anderson.
Here.
Natalie Knudsen,
Here.
Melanie Cole,
Here.
Matthew Lemke,
Here.
Missy Hermes present. We have a quorum.
Very good. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. And now I'll proceed with the reading this resolution. Thank you, Jerry Field, for the donation to the Otter Angel account, which is an account created to anonymously assist families unable to pay for their student meals. And thank you to the Church of the Nazarene for their generous donation for warm clothing or student needs across all grade levels. Also, thank you to Shoremaster LLC for their donation of aluminum tubing for the super mileage car at Kennedy Secondary School. And then, along with it, our acknowledgement is congratulations to Missy Hermes for attaining Director's Award for the 2021-2022 year, school, or not calendar year, for her involvement and achievement in the Minnesota School Board Association for completing 100 hours or more of attendance at MSBA or National School Board Association sponsored meetings and activities. Very well. I will offer this resolution and move for its adoption. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I better call the roll first.
Oh, yeah,
That was our discussion.
Our discussion.
Yeah,
Discussion, right?
All right, yeah, please take roll.
Okay, Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, and on to our collateral reports and involvements, starting with Kirby Anderson.
Yes, nothing on our finance committee. The 544 Foundation is one of those weird quirks of the calendar where we met on December 9th last month, and we had our meeting here on December 13th. So I did give a report at that time. And this month, our first meeting is today, and the first meeting of the monthly meeting of the 544 Foundation is this coming Thursday, the 13th at noon. So no meeting to report on. I would like to, if some of you happened to see the Daily Journal the other day, there was a really nice front page article on a grant that was used to purchase a video camera for Ms. Christensen's high school English class, and video productions, I should say. And they detailed a lot about what the foundation does and how we can address some of the items that maybe don't make it into the budget cycle. And then there was also a nice blurb in there about what foundation scholarships are available and encouraging students to apply for those scholarships. So that was just in the paper, I believe it was on Saturday, I think. So encourage people to look at that. And so that's about all I have to report.
Okay.
Answers questions.
Doesn't look like there are any questions. Board reports for Melanie Cole. I'll start with the Whopper. We had Activities Committee meeting last week, and we discussed the compensation schedule for the co-curricular activities, and the big news is that it's quantified and quantifiable now, which our past coaches and leadership for arts and music didn't have, so that was progress. And it didn't change the sums that will be paid in any significant amount, so we were consistent with that, but we do have now something that if there should be, say, a percentage increase to the coaching, all forms of coaching, then so we have some structure. So that was really, I think, a great thing, been talked about a long time. Then the board, or then the activities committee also discussed rejuvenation of the Roosevelt Gym, the old field house, and just basically how to proceed there to explore that a little bit further, so. Yeah. Anything to add? Matt Lemke was also there?
No, I think it was a good, productive meeting, and just thanks Superintendent Drake and Derek Evans for spending the time to put that schedule. It's been many years talked about, many years of trying to get it going, and finally to have something that is, I think, makes some sense, and I think, like you said, brings some structure to the coach's salary. It was a good first thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was good. And then Region 1, last month, we met and talked about, that's a technology and services for the school districts type of school district, which it just offers services, but and doesn't have necessarily any other role. But it's ending. It's going to end support for Meals Plus soon, and has given notification to the school districts on that, and is going to endorse other types of student lunch account systems. Time trackers still rolling out. That's the name of their employee time tracking system, and that's apparently going well. And then they are continuing to consider and solicit input about adding business services, because it's so difficult to find a good business manager. Don't you agree?
I agree.
All right, and then today the Special Education Cooperative Board met over a noon hour and did a bunch of personnel maneuvers, and we had one of the staff come in, Jessica Raguse came in, who does early childhood quantification. So she explained that Help Me Grow program that's in 2 phases. The 0 to 2 phase, where there's certain requirements set by the state for the special education to cooperative to complete, and then the 2 to 3, what? I don't know, the other one, 2 to 3, I think, 2 to 3 years of age. So she described that and how busy they are. A lot of people didn't seek services for their kids during the pandemic, and they're getting kind of slammed. So she explained the particulars of the program, which I obviously didn't remember really all that well. But and then just personnel, we made a nomination to reduce programs, an annual resolution, so that if we need to begin the scripted process for relieving staff of duties, we got that in place. So that's all. Anybody have any questions? Okay, on to Missy Hermes.
Okay, the Staff Development Committee met last Monday, January 3rd. And again, just going over these speakers that we're going to have on project-based learning, and those are going to be at the January 21st and February 11th staff development days. And then we also have the March 25th day coming up, and a survey was sent out to teachers, and and not just teachers, but paraprofessionals are definitely invited to go to all of these trainings. And they said that the confirmed presenters for the March 25th Staff Development Day we'll be covering topics such as trauma-informed practice, which a lot of educators requested suicide awareness, fetal alcohol, spectrum disorders, and then there are other, they haven't confirmed the other speakers yet. There still is a little bit of money in the budget, but teachers are going to interesting workshops now that are, again, now in person, including Krista Simongard, who's our gifted and talented coordinator, will be able to go to a midwinter conference, and that's exciting. And so that's that. And then the policy committee, we met on last Friday, and this was kind of an emergency meeting, and that is really in the title. ETS stands for Emergency Temporary Standards, so hopefully it would be temporary, and it is dealing with an emergency. And then the other part of this is that this is a required, this is required by OSHA, and again, OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health, right? Administration, and again, we want to always provide a healthy and safe working environment for employees, and that's really who this policy is talking about, employees. It's not dealing with students, not dealing with visitors that are coming into the building, but employees. And people that might be listening to this might say, well, my employer doesn't have to have this policy, but this is for businesses that have over 100 employees, and that's definitely our school district, which has over 400 employees. And so in discussions on Friday, we were presented with two different options of how this policy would look. And one, we thought that this one that we're gonna vote on tonight, that it gave people in the school district, our employees, the most choice, personal choice, in how, what they would decide to do. And so this policy applies to all employees of the school district, full-time and part-time, anyone really that draws a paycheck. And so what it says is that any employee who is not fully vaccinated by today will be subject to regular testing every 7 days, so once a week, and also will need to wear a face covering. This policy has nothing to do with boosters. That's not covered at all. That's not any part of this. And it just asks employees, they're going to need to submit their vaccination status to the HR department here. Also, another thing that I thought was really helpful is that this policy that we're going to need to adopt tonight is going to give people as many chances once they make their personal decision. If they need to take paid leave to travel, they decide now I don't want to get tested every week, I don't want to wear a mask, then they have a chance now to have paid leave to travel to a vaccination site and then return to work. They also may utilize accrued paid sick leave if they experience side effects from a vaccine, but it does not require anyone to get a vaccine. And let's see, people can also request a reasonable accommodation by submitting something in writing to the superintendent. Okay.
Was that the only?
And then this policy, it also lays out, and I don't want to have to go over all of it, it's out there, but for employees, they'll receive this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It lays out what is a test, what is a face covering, etc. All that is specified. And if somebody decides then that they don't want to do any of those things, then this gives them, that they will know exactly what happens to. And that means if you're not going to be vaccinated, and then you also decide that You don't want to ask for a accommodation, you don't want to wear a mask, or you don't want to get tested every week, then you have the option to not be an employee of the school district.
Okay.
And then the consequences of us not complying with OSHA's requirement was
Are
a pretty
fines.
pretty stiff fine.
Right.
I think what OSHA's gonna be looking is that we are in good faith.
Right.
Trying to implement, because there's, I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I've heard some issues, and I don't know how our testing situation is yet, but just even to set up testing and everything else.
Well, right now, Matt, I think we're set pretty good with testing, and I was curious, if somebody has to be tested every week, or a number of employees have to be tested every week, is this costing taxpayers money for us? And the answer is no. Right now, we receive tests free, and testing is free.
Who
Who
pays
pays
for
for
the
it?
free?
Taxpayers.
Yeah. In a roundabout way.
So,
Nothing is ever free.
In a roundabout way, right,
Yes, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's not coming right up, directly out of the districts, yeah.
Anyway, okay, well, that's a nice thorough review of the upcoming, the policy that we'll vote on.
Can I just add really quick?
Yeah.
The other option, the other policy that we had to look at was just a vaccination mandate.
Right. Either you get vaccinated or you're no longer an
those were the two
employee. You'd be removed
options.
from the
Yeah.
workplace. And I should say too, that this also, because I know Elaine is working so hard to make sure that we have substitutes of paras and so on, this also applies to new hires. Yeah.
All right. Any other comments or questions about Missy's reports?
Just in the staff development part of it, you know, when you're talking about trauma informed, are they gonna do kind of a review of ACEs thing, adverse childhood experiences and
I
stuff?
have seen ACEs included, did they
maybe-
mention that?
We
It's-
talked about that briefly. A lot of times now ACEs is kind of woven into trauma-informed
Mhm.
school practices, so we're anticipating that'll be
Some-
embedded.
Does it take it to the next steps rather than just saying this is ACEs and this is how you identify it, but maybe more like how staff can be responsive to it?
It's my understanding, yep,
Okay.
how we can intervene and support and.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be great. Okay.
I think, just to clarify, it pretty much includes anybody who gets a paycheck
Right,
from the district. So
Correct.
we will have volunteers who are not covered by this.
right.
And it seems like we all get a paycheck, so covers
I
us.
uploaded mine today,
Me
yes.
too.
All righty, very good. And moving on with board reports, Natalie Knudsen.
So the Wellness Committee meets tomorrow, but I can report that the Thrive Initiative is still rolling out. They did a survey before the holidays, to just see what engagement has been like, see what the employees are learning, and those results are still kind of accumulating back. We've gotten just a brief summary, and it's been fun to hear, just some of the light bulbs going off with some of the staff. So now the second half of the year, they're gonna be taking some of those concepts and using them in the classroom with the students. Random acts of kindness, gratitude, finding your flow, those types of things. And then buildings and grounds has not formally met, but we'll be talking about the Lincoln School more specifically in our work session today with a couple different options to take a look at, so.
Very good. All right, any questions for Natalie? On to Matthew Lemke.
My report's gonna be super short. So High School League has not met since December, and also the Lakes Country Service Co-op has not met since our last board meeting, so I have nothing to report.
Great, make you up some time. Stephen Biggessa for the reports.
Mine are just about as short since the legislative liaison and confer are no longer required. The curriculum review committee will meet on Monday, and I do have the agenda, so we'll be discussing, is it Monday, January 17th?
It is.
My dates, okay. We'll be discussing language arts, Guy Greavy and Angie Leach. We'll talk about that. And
Say that again, language arts?
English language arts is on the agenda, and that's Guy Greavy, Angie Leach. And then health and physical education will be discussed with Beth Wickland and Steve Olson. So I'll have more to report on that next month.
Okay. Any questions for Steve? Superintendent Drake?
Yes, good evening, Happy New Year. Mine will be short too, so we'll further make up some time. How does that sound? Kind of an auspicious start. The city informed us early this morning that there was a water main break here, and it does have some impact on the school district. Our main source of water here for KSS will be unaffected, so we'll still have sinks, lavatories, kitchen, all that will be fine. However, we will be without our sprinkler system for potentially a period of time. The sprinkler system currently does have water in the system, so if we were to have a fire, we would have at least some initial dousing capabilities, but not like we would normally have if it were fully functional. We did have some communication with the fire marshal. He said as long as we move towards what they call a fire watch, which is basically repeated visual inspections of the building, that we will be fine until we can get our sprinkler system back online again. The other ramification is that Freiburg Avenue is going to be closed, part of it, which is going to impact some traffic flow in and out of the school. Basically, it's going to be, as I understand it, closed from Beach, where it connects with Beach, north to the end of our service entrance where we have that little loop. But it will stop short of the parking lot out in front of the cafeteria. So our parents and students and staff will still be able to use that big lot as pickup and drop off. But you're going to be rerouted for a day or two around that section of Freiburg. So a bit of an inconvenience, but fairly temporary, and we'll just deal with it and move on. We did receive from ATS&R the Cleveland facility study, and I'll just quickly go through a couple notes that they made on that. In general, Cleveland is in good physical condition. In terms of the site, it does have the majority of green space left in the district. However, the elevation does present some challenges to that. Presents some challenges in terms of playground supervision because of the elevation. It also presents some challenges if you were to add on to that site because of the elevation changes as well. Some portions of the building, such as the administration area, the library, the music room, and the kitchen area, are undersized relative to the Minnesota Department of Education guidelines. And in addition, the building's missing some appropriate spaces for 21st century learning environments and for some student support services. However, the regular classrooms do meet MDE guidelines, so that was a good finding there. And then just in terms of student flow, with some of our music programs and also with the Prairie Science classrooms, there's a lot of movement in and out of that building, and it does cause some congestion, in particular off that main entrance and then down along that hallway that runs right next to the cafeteria. So some study maybe in how we might be able to lessen that will be examined. I do want to just congratulate our Nhs inductees tonight. That's going on in the building at 7 p.m. Really a wonderful honor and recognition for those students. So again, my congratulations to them. COVID-19 update. We had 12 cases today, which was a little higher coming off the weekend. Hopefully not indicative of any kind of trending. But that does bring us to 300 cases year to date, or 10% of our population. And then again, my last item was just a note that Missy had already covered with staff development, really focusing on our next two meetings on project-based learning, which we think really lends itself well to 21st century employability skills. So unless there are questions, that concludes my report.
Anybody with questions? All right, we'll continue on then. Thank you, Superintendent Drake. For consideration, next are the general consent items. This is a variety of things we may approve under one vote. And so up for consideration for approval are the minutes from the December 13th, 2021 school board meeting. And then our bills and treasurers report. So I'll turn to you, Kurt.
Yes. Natalie and I met with Blake right before this meeting to review the bills. And Blake also provided me with the treasurer's report. Our total fund balance is just slightly higher than it was 12 months ago. But also we were almost $3 million less than last month, which is it's an annual thing. It's a big month for payables and payroll. We had an IQ reconciliation, which would be the last payment that would be under the old contract. That was $770,000. So as we reviewed the bills, we went through 8 pages of bills and looked at some of that. We looked at we had some air filters that went in to upgrade our air filtration systems in a couple of buildings. $18,000 to Bradco, and that was for some tuck pointing. We looked at, talked a little bit about health insurance and life insurance and LTD and Delta Dental, and Blake gave us a good education on a lot of that. We did have a $4,800 bill that came through for late bill for striping some of our lots. Testing curriculum, $6,400 to the University of Minnesota. $8,000 to FFA, which was just a pass-through, which was explained to us. We made the second of 3 payments to the Balanced Gymnastics Center. $20,000 annual contract. And let's see, quarterly billing on special ed co-op, so that was $167,000. So we had some large numbers going out this month. And I think the last one here, we had some $4,000 for the gold bleachers, and then I think we're talking about our coaches tonight, so we just reviewed some of that. So overall, doing pretty good financially. I think we have food services and community ed in particular continuing to do well. And I want to thank Blake for putting everything together for us, and for Natalie for reviewing the bills with me this month. So, any questions or comments?
No, thank you. We'll move on then for review of personnel.
Good evening, everyone. We have a number of changes once again. Under personnel, we have support staff hires, Kevin Bitger, custodian at Kennedy Secondary School, Kathleen L., special ed paraprofessional here at Kennedy, and Christy Obawa, she'll work as a long-term substitute over at Lincoln School in our preschool ECFE classroom as classroom aide. Under support staff resignations, Craig Solia, custodian at Kennedy, Elizabeth Fournier, noon hour supervisor over at Cleveland, and Danny Kloos, special ed paraprofessional over at Lincoln. Support staff retirement, Darlis Hagee, special ed paraprofessional at Cleveland, and then under new business, you will see a resolution regarding that retirement listed. Certified staff hires, Nathan Fell, science math teacher at ALC. He'll be taking over for the certified staff resignation of Joe DeMars. Then we have Kathleen Rittenauer, she's going to be a long-term substitute, IQ health teacher, and Heather Miller, IQ elementary teacher, will have a contract increase. That needed to start last Monday due to just enrollment of students that had an increase there. And then coaching staff resignation, Joyce Monk, head girls swimming coach, and that was effective here in December. And as we all know, Joyce has been a long time swimming coach for us, so she'll be missed and I'm sure very much well in her next adventure. And so I would request these for board approval.
All right, very good. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion on these items? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that's approved, and we'll move on to new business where we need to approve the tentative seniority list for the school district. So I would seek a motion to approve that.
There's no action, just a please read first.
Oh, all right.
Just note, and then it'll be sent out to our teaching staff, so.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, just note that,
It's in our packet for review.
it's in our packet, we'll look at it, they'll look at it, then we'll
Approve
potentially
it,
approve
yeah,
it.
either
Yeah.
later on in January or the first meeting in February.
All right, thank you. Then, we have, had a presentation last meeting from Scott Cummerall about a music trip to Washington DC from March 25th to 30th. Is there a motion to, in regard to approving or disapproving that student music trip? Would someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the music trip.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. And any discussion on that?
Yes. Do we, did we come to any kind of consensus on the dates that were conflicting with, with other
Speech.
activities? Yes, speech, state speech and.
The speech events were rescheduled,
Okay.
and so that prevented the vast majority of the conflict with that music trip date, the dates.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's good. It's awfully close, so, so it's, we have a motion to approve it, and, but we might wanna just review that in terms of getting the request before the students, I'm sure they've been preparing, saving, it's
Yeah, it's kind of like a 2-year, I mean, it's
a
that's
2-year
process.
cycle.
Yes, that's a process that the kids are all, and I'm sure parents all know it's coming too, so I don't
Yeah.
think,
So,
I think it's just making sure that the dates and everything.
Well, I think
Right.
the concern is that in the future, when we're scheduling something like this, that we maybe have a little more open and honest communication between different entities
Yeah,
as far as what's going on what dates,
yeah,
which is fair.
yeah, absolutely.
yep. Okay.
So are we voting on this?
Yep.
Okay.
So, any other discussion? Just one last call on that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Melanie, I'll take this one if I can, the next one.
You bet.
All right. So I'm gonna offer a resolution and move for its adoption on the retirement of Darla Sagi. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because I went to school with Darla, right here in the halls of Fergus Falls, and I taught her how to drive a straight stick vehicle in driver's training when we were 15, so she was Darla's portrait. Anyway, so whereas Darla Sagi began her employment with the Fergus Falls Public Schools in August 2010, and whereas Darla has been a valued employee with the Fergus Falls Public Schools and the Fergus Falls Area Special Ed Co-op 935 for 11.5 years, and whereas Darla has been a dedicated special education paraprofessional for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Darla Sagi for her 11.5 years of service to the Fergus Falls Public Schools and the Fergus Falls Area Special Education 935.
All right. I will offer that resolution and move for its adoption. Is there a second?
I think I already did.
You
One
did.
second, so-
Okay, okay, I'll
Yeah.
second it then. Very good. Any other discussion? Anybody else got stories about Darla's? Okay. All right, clerk, please take roll.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knutson.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Biggessa.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
All right. Very good. Next, agenda item is a motion for the school board policy as required by state and federal regulations. This is a policy recently reviewed by Missy in tonight's meeting regarding employee mandatory COVID-19 vaccination or testing and face coverings. Would someone offer that motion to adopt that policy?
I'll
So-
offer that.
Okay,
Oh,
Missy.
I can second it.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
Motion by Steve, second by Missy.
Sure.
Any discussion?
I think Missy did a really good job of presenting what the group did. I'll be voting against it just on principle, just on the constitutionality of it. I think it'll be overturned, but, and I realize we have to have a plan, but it's OSHA has bypassed all of the required rulemaking as well as comment periods. So that's just a heads up for you.
But they can change, I mean, if we adopt this policy and, then it's deemed,
Oh, I
but then it's
understand
deemed
that.
unconstitutional, we don't have to keep.
No, I understand that completely. No, we have, I know we have to.
I just wanna avoid the $13,000 fine in
No, that's-
taxpayer
no, I
dollars
get
if
it.
we don't
So,
comply. I mean, it has nothing to do with ideals, it's just,
Right. No,
we need to be
it's-
responsible with taxpayer dollars, I think that's.
No, I understand completely,
Yeah.
but it's a symbolic vote, and I get that. But
No,
that's
no,
my
that's
reasoning,
fine.
I just want to explain it to the board, that's all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's good.
So, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the policy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
No.
All right, vote passes. And at this time, I am going to follow Minnesota Statute 13D.03 and seek a motion to close the meeting. We will have a discussion about district negotiations with the superintendent of schools. And so that will just mean that only the board members will remain in the room. And then upon completion of that discussion, we'll reopen the board meeting. And if you want to stick around, it's going to be tantalizing because then we're going to seek adjournment for the meeting. And so there really is not going to be a more public business conducted. We will also, but it is public, that we will have a work session which has several topics. Organizational proposal for Lincoln School, outdoor court, tennis court project discussion.
Basketball.
That's what I meant.
That's what, yeah.
Yep, my mouth just doesn't always work. And then we'll talk about some of the machinations of our recently adopted policy and learn how that's gonna work. Otter Tail coaches contract, and then about the conference, school board conference this week, so. With that, is there a motion to close the school board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
All right, motion made at 6:14. Any discussion on it? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, the meeting is closed. Of course, stick around.